Alright, on to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. I would rate this one quite highly. I think it's a very elegant ship. It's a skill cannon, just to be very clear. It has a relatively high, but it just like the whole line. So it has a high skill ceiling. It's just the maneuverability is amazing. If you can get it into those situations, it's just very, very good. I've enjoyed it a lot more than the previous one and the one after that, to be honest. So it's the reason why I bought the Black Edinburgh, because I wanted to keep that kind of playstyle at tier 8 with BT, etc. Because obviously BT, we all have it on the same ship. But voilà. But Edinburgh, yeah, it's if you know what you're doing, it's a very, very solid ship.
Yeah, for me, I want to put it just in niche because as much as I do love the Edinburgh, there are times it works and there are times it doesn't. Just like the Minotaur or the Neptune and the Minotaur, but the Neptune and Minotaur have a lot more torpedoes for its tier. So I feel like the Fiji, if I'm remembering right, it feels right amount of damage output. Edinburgh feels like it's just a little bit lagged behind, and then you finally get to the Neptune, and now you have a crap load of firepower. So you can get yourself out of the situations where the Edinburgh, it's in that awkward tier right there. It's just not quite there, but it is fun, though. It is fun. Great for DD hunting, very maneuverable.
My problem with it is that you basically, and that's a general issue with the lines, you need to have historical camos to really start to use those torpedoes effectively. Otherwise, you have to expose yourself too much. So it's kind of, have to pay to play that line. And yeah.
So never had that issue with the Neptune, but I just bought the historical camo for that one. But I just like the Neptune. I like the crap load of torps. You know, especially when you just sit and smoke and you're just like, hee hee. take all 16, mother.
Yeah, no, I get that way.
Enterprise.
Yeah, meta. Immediately, it's one of those. All the people that keep complaining about nerfing midway dive bombers, I don't know why they keep ignoring this one. It's just insane. So I tested every single CV in training room. Accuracy against battleships, against DDs, this one sits on top of everything. It's the real problem in the game. It's not. It's really this one. It's an incredibly annoying ship to play against. The damage potential, it's just through the roof. I remember when I reviewed the Sanzang, which is the counter to that, more or less. I was playing against a good Enterprise player, and I deplaned him after half of the game. Completely deplaned. He still managed to deal more than 50k damage.
Oh yeah, no.
My planes were on top of it all the time, and he still managed to carry the team. And he had no planes after. So the damage potential of that thing is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll agree. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Enterprise and they're forgetting that, because midway, I actually just put up a clip yesterday or something like that of what was it? My Delny took almost a 10k hit and triple fire from a midway. I was like, thanks, love you too. So yeah, Enterprise is though pretty bad too.
The problem that you have with the midway is that the midway is completely inconsistent in terms of it's the most inconsistent ship in terms of dive bomber performance. So concretely, you will have phases where half of them will hit, and phases where one of them will hit. The opposite is the Indomitable. The Indomitable is incredibly consistent.
Yeah.
You're always going to get the same amount of hits per wave. The Enterprise is second in terms of consistency. It's a very, very dangerous ship against every single target. So DDs are not safe from that thing at all. So yeah.
Buffet A1. Just keep on saying that.
Buff AA on every single ship below tier 10. Yes. I don't know how many times we've asked for this.
All tiers. Come on.
I think tier 10 is fine, but yeah. How many times have we asked for an AA buff overall?
I think we lost count at over 100.
Yeah. Even the CV players are asking for it, so yeah, that's telling you something. I mean, it is what it is. So if you can't beat them, join them. So
no. I'm gonna keep on fighting them. Keep on fighting them.
Fenyang, that's the payable Akizuki with the torpedo or something like that. Is that
Yeah,
is that
deep water.
is that this one?
Yeah, deep water torpedoes with
and deep
insanely
water,
accurate Akizuki with deep waters. That's what it is.
yeah, but it doesn't have the torpedo, though. So you have that lame torpedo DPM. So yeah, I did not enjoy this one. For me, it's playable, but if you're into boats that use their guns and have a low torpedo damage, I think there are better candidates. One of which we've just reviewed. So well, I wouldn't pay for it.
It is oddly accurate, though. Man, those things are mortars. They land right on target. It's kind of, it's unique at least. I gotta give it that. But that, yeah, better ones.
Flandre. Flandre. I put it in niche, to be honest. Because it does have its niche. If you're looking for a French battleship that looks and plays like a traditional battleship, you have it. That's a niche. It's the only normal battleship of the line. All the others are a bit weird. This one, it's the so tradition.
Oh, I'm gonna bump it just barely into competitive though, because that is a good playstyle. It's fun.
Not bad, huh? It's not bad, really. And
I think French Alabama. It's a French Alabama.
I think, yeah, but it's 38 centimeters gun, no? Is it? I don't remember.
I'd say similar playstyle.
It's a similar playstyle, but it's not as good as executing, but I agree that it's much better at short range. And if I'm not mistaken, the auto secondaries are among the best at tier 8. I remember reviewing it. Quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, French secondaries are nuts.
Yeah, it's actually better than Odin in terms of DPM, the auto secondaries. So that's telling you something about the performance of that thing at short range. So yeah.
Yeah, it's
just to have a normal battleship for the French line.
I enjoy it. It's just a standard good ship. There's nothing really wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Technically niche because you are right. It's kind of a French, just regular, but I'd say that's good enough to bump that up.
Right.
Oh, Gascon.
What do we have? Gascogne. I will. Probably niche. Because I cannot put it in the same bracket as the Black Gascogne. It's definitely inferior for me. And typically, the first time I grinded the line, I sucked at it, and then I picked it up a few years later when I knew what I was doing, and then I absolutely shined in it. So you have to know what you're doing, how to engage, disengage, where to engage, and then I think it's a very rewarding playstyle. But when you look at the hard stats of all the ships at tier 8, this one is definitely on the lower end in terms of DPM, survivability, etc. So yeah.
Yeah, I like it, but it's going to have games where it works, games where it doesn't. But the Black Gascon's just way better because of that. Yeah.
Because of that stupidly good combo, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you can use any French commander on the Black Gascogne, by the way, because of that stupid combo. So. Alors, this one, the Gustav. Oh, fuck. Gustav Julius Merker. Dear God, why? Dear God, why? I grinded that thing during the Atlantico meta, and I had to stop it because it was borderline unplayable.
That sounds like me with my Z52. I ground it, or I finally bought it right as the Malta meta happened.
I mean, it's the thing is, I don't understand why Wargaming gave them such a subpar torpedo performance. It's really like the first mine-laying ship line. So I don't see the point. I really don't see the point. And I have some footage where you almost have to shoot across the map to hit an Amagi. And the guy just keeps driving in a straight line, sailing in a straight line, and then hits half of the torpedoes. So, because yeah,
they're so slow. But yeah, no, the Gustav also it's in that awkward tier because the Felix is really good. I enjoy the Felix. I enjoy the Elbing, but it's just
it's what we say in French. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Well, here it's the road to the Elbing is paved with hell. So. Helping is really good. It's really, really good, but I just don't feel like putting the effort to go through that thing in the next one. So.
Yeah, no. Felix is fun. Elbing is unique. So
yeah, Elbing is unique.
Harlem.
Same remark for me as DZP. I haven't put the time into it yet. So
I'm gonna put it in niche just because it is that battle, or it's a battle cruiser, the heavy cruiser situation, I should say. Yeah, heavy cruiser and such. It just doesn't have the ease of use of the airstrikes that the DZP does. So it is so close to being competitive, but God, they need to buff it. Oh my God. Oh, Harbin. Probably one of the hardest ones nerfed recently.
So this one was nerfed recently, so they essentially made it pay to win because now you have to buy the camo to get the correct amount of stealth torp.
Yep.
So, but I think it's still a good ship. Huh? It's still a good ship. You can still. I mean, the nerf hasn't affected the playstyle for me, to be honest. It's still the same playstyle. It's still very capable. It's just have to be a bit more cautious. So for me. Somewhere between niche and competitive. It's still a very capable ship.
Yeah.
Not as good as before, that's all, but still very good. So.
Yeah, I'll agree with niche. It's now way more niche. It's just before it was definitely pushing competitive because of just how good it was. And then now it's like, hey, you might get it because you might get some dumb enemies that just run into your torps, but if you don't, it's a little hard to get a lot of damage out of those guns. So
you have to shoot from I think they nerfed it like so that you have to shoot like more than 1.5 kilometers, so 1 mile further, something like that. So yeah, that definitely affects the performance of that thing as a big DD. So yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah.
Now, new kid on the block, the Hawk.
I haven't touched them yet. To be honest, I haven't touched them yet. So
you the whole St. Vincent line. This is the Rook, the Hawk. I like all these ships. They're all pretty darn good and competitive. They are fun. They tank via their health, so just know sometimes you need to get the crap out of there. But luckily they have the engine accelerator to do that, which kind of does help. They've got decent concealment, decent HE, really good AP. Funny whenever you hit torpedoes. That's my goal in a game whenever I run into a St. Vincent or whenever I run that line is just let me see how many torpedo hits I can get this game. So it's just stupid fun. Yeah. Hornet.
Hornet, that's interesting. That's an interesting one, and I'm not going to make many friends of it. It does have the same DPM as the Enterprise, so that's number one. So that's something that we cannot ignore. So yeah, put it in meta immediately. I think it's the most complete CV in the game for me. So essentially, it can handle everything you throw at it, simply because it has those ridiculous dive bombers with an insane amount of health. Typically, when you're faced, for example, typical center control maps or competitive game modes where you have a lot of concentration of AA, Shokaku is going to suffer at some point. If a ship does not detach itself from the crowd and you cannot sing it out, then yeah, you're going to have a complicated time and you will have to pick your strikes very carefully. Here, all you have to do is wait, send those B-25s, let them get wrecked by AA, and then you send your torpedo bombers to do the damage right after that.
Yep.
So it does not have the same amount of burst damage as the Shokaku. The torpedo damage is a bit lower, so it can nuke, but not as efficiently as the Shokaku. And Shokaku is still Shokaku and Senzang are still the king of nukes, DD nuke, but you can definitely do it. And I think you're also much more sustainable. The fighters are also a little bit better, so I think it's a bit more balanced than the Shokaku. It's just that you have to time your strikes with this thing because your bombers, they reload a lot slower than the torpedo ones. So if you're just pressing that send button with the torpedo bombers, you're gonna have a problem before the end of the game. They're quite squishy. If you are patient and you know how to engage certain targets, avoid the bubbles, then you'll do just fine with it. So, and in any case, it's a CV, so it's overpowered just like the others. So
I was like, where are we gonna say this? Yeah, it's just the Hornet. I'd say it's a less toxic, like, of the Enterprise. I'd say, but.
I think that's the best description because the bombers are going to suck against DDs. Yes, you actually have to have some skill to eat DDs with that thing. Yeah, correct. So, it's less toxic. It's still toxic, but it's less toxic.
Yeah, it's still CV, but it's kind of like the August One Parzival and that, where it's like it's just not as annoying to play against, but at the same time, it's still
and you don't see too many of them, to be honest.
No, you don't.
Shenyang.
Shenyang.
I think, yeah, before the nerf, you would have put it on top of everything, and after the nerf, I think it dropped 2 categories for me. I would put it in niche because the guns, they were shot down by... I grinded it on my second account after the nerf, and the difference was very noticeable in terms of gun performance. That's the way I perceive it. In terms of gun, it's worse than Benson. So it's very, very frustrating if those destroyers are... all they have to do is engage from more than 10 kilometers, and you might as well throw potatoes at them. So it's very frustrating.
The gun arcs are better, though.
The torpedoes are excellent. You get the radar. You get all the attributes of a good DD. It's just that the guns are absolutely horrible.
I don't know, the arcs are more workable than the Benson. I was actually going to put this right into meta, if not competitive, but you are right.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, you're kind of more right on the niche. After the nerf, it has suffered a bit. It has.
If you compare it with Yeong does have the guns that work, that can hit targets at any range. So there, it's very noticeable, the difference. Yeong just aim, and you will hit your targets. Sengyang, it's just, it's like playing the lottery every time you hit that button. But I mean, it's still a good DD, yeah? It's still a very good ship. You got the great torpedoes, insane amount of damage. Yeah, they reload slow, but okay, it is what it is. Fast. You got 2 smokes, you got the radar. So why would you play Holland when you wanna? Huh?
Actually, you just convinced me. I'm moving up to competitive.
Yeah.
You convinced me. You convinced me, even though you're saying niche, but you've convinced me. Yeah, no, it's a good ship. It's still yeah. The nerf did hurt it. It was gonna be a meta, but no. Well, since I know you don't want to handle this ship, I'm just gonna handle this one for you. Ignis Brigatio goes right into Degrad Y. Don't bet it.
It's a piece of crap, and this is another one. Okay, it's a fancy piece of crap. Okay, that's good.
Perfect, awesome, implacable. Implaceable.
Competitive as well. Huh? So competitive as well. It's a CV. We know where they are, but it's well balanced. It can do a bit of everything. It's just that the fighter performance, it's just the worst at tier 8. So it's just it's very difficult to shoot on anything with them, and so that's my problem with it. So, but for the rest, you can attack DDs fine. You can deal with battleships fine. I mean, number of squadrons is manageable. So.
Okay, now let's talk about the worst piece of here. I'm just gonna put that right there.
No, I would put it in competitive actually, because there are 2 things that you have to know with the Indomitable. So it's the worst DPM of all the CVs, tier 7+. That's number 1. So the damage potential of that thing, it's fairly limited in comparison, for example, with the 2 ships next to it, Enterprise and Hornet. It's like half of it, roughly. So concretely, if RNG is not on your side, you're going to suck. You cannot do anything against DDs. Test it for yourself. Just focus the first DD you see in a game. It will take you between 3 and 4 minutes to delete it. So it's just ridiculous to... You cannot do anything. If one of them decides to YOLO you, it's over for you. So it's bye-bye. Because it's strictly damage over time. It does not have any alpha. So if a ship decides to YOLO you, bam.
But... Come on, Nick. It's 4 clicks. Or it's 6 clicks. This is... Like, I've done 80k in this thing. It is brain dead easy to play. I'm not going to say it's as good, but it's just so damn easy, like the Smolensk.
That's the thing. Unlike the Smolensk, this one, it's easy to play. I agree with that. Sometimes your positioning will let you down. The fighters are good. The fighters are really good. They're not Sanzine good, but they're very good. And that's the only squadron you have to manage.
Exactly. I was like, this thing is so brain dead easy.
But your damage potential is just limited. The plane counts, it's very low. So if you're just being silly about where you send your planes, then bye-bye. It's hard to counter. I think it's a good counter. If you're a non-competitive player and you want to counter a competitive player, that's the ship to do it. Yeah. That's why I like it. But it can be very frustrating at times. Because you're seeing that ship sailing towards you, and you know you cannot do anything to stop it. You're sending your planes. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, you've dealt 5,000 damage, and the Bismarck is still looking at you like fresh meat, and then.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it in meta just because, good lord, this thing is easy and it's annoying to play against. I don't know why. For me, I always get triple fired on. Like it's just people just get lucky on that, and it's so annoying to play against. But yeah, you are right. There are better CVs to play.
I would not put it under the Implacable, for example, but indeed it's super easy to play, and if you want to learn about CVs, then indeed that's a very good vehicle. So
I'd say the Argus on Parzival is a better version of that to learn from. I would say, but that's just me.
Okay. Irian, why would you play that thing in the first place? Actually, that's a good thing. Because since they've introduced the Pan-Asian line, I mean, the Tech 3 ships execute on that playstyle a lot better than Irian. It was already subpar before. Now I don't even see any reason to use it, to be honest. Because it's really, for me, the worst combination of threat that you can have. So you take the maneuverability of Russian cruisers, which is garbage. You reduce the range and the gun performance, which is now worse than Kutuzov. And you give them better torpedoes, but getting to use them will get you killed inevitably.
Yeah.
Because you will be spotted and you're just a big chunk of metal that's trying more or less to wiggle. And I mean, I think when I reviewed all the premium shop ships, I give this one 1 star, and I'll spend like 2 or 3 minutes on it because I don't see why you would buy it now that you have the Tech 3 line as well. So
this is so actually people convinced me to try it out. Press account, I did really well on it. I was like, yes, this is great. Bought it on my main account. This is the only tier 8 premium I've ever sold. I hated this ship. Oh my god. And I even in my notes I have it as niche because I'm like I'm trying, but no, I agree with you. It is.
No, it's
just get the Kuzov. Get the Chappie. Get the Black Chappie. Just get anything other than it. Get the Harpin.
Yeah, or play the Tech 3 line.
Yeah,
play the Tech 3 line. That's just the better version of that playstyle.
Oh, yeah. Kagero.
For me, that's a niche thing. It's a good DD, but it's just the gun performance. It's one of the worst at the tier. So if you, I mean, for me, the whole line, I would put it in niche, to be honest. Because you cannot enter a cap and stay in a cap with those things. So if there's a German or anything British or Russian in front of you, then just uninstall the game. So, but indeed, if you manage to catch a ship. It's just that you get more range than the Americans, but the damage is not fundamentally different. They're faster as well, so it's a bit easier to hit. I think it's a very free-to-play friendly line as well. You don't need to buy any camo or have any commander. You can put a vanilla commander on it, so that's why I like it. It's very safe to play because if you can manage to remain unspotted for an entire game, but you're not contributing really to any objective when you do that. So niche, it's very good as a torpedo boat for me, but ultimately there are situations where you just simply cannot compete, and it's a bit annoying. So
the entire line, once again, it's the king. They are the king of niche. They do one thing, they do it incredibly well. Outside of that, not so much. No. So Kansas.
Yeah, I'm reviewing my stats, and the gun DPM it's on the lower end, but yeah, it's turret rotation 10 degrees. I mean. As soon as you start turning with that thing, you lose your target, and then
Then again, Nick, I do have to say, with the Kagero, the guns do exist, people, so use them. There's so many.
If you get them on target, they're decent. But if you're in a turning battle with a DD, you've lost already. So it's over for you.
Pretty much, but at least you should use them just a little bit. Come on, you have them.
You have to use them. You have to use them.
Kansas.
It's not my kind of ship, so I like fast ships. So I reviewed that line once and for all for my subscribers. Don't make me touch it anymore. The video is there, you can watch it. It's okay, I'm not touching it anymore. So voila. But it's a good ship. It's just 20 knots. If you need to get from point A to point B, that's all you will ever do in the battle. So for competitive center control epicenter, it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
For base capture, it's a bit limited, I think. So voilà.
I'm gonna
So
say
competitive, it's voilà.
I'm gonna say less than the Black Kansas though, because the Black Kansas has that additional scout plane that allows you just to get in those situations out of where you're like, crap, I'm just too slow. The battle's running away from me. Black Kansas can kind of at least a little bit further. Where the Kansas, you have that slow speed, but it is a good slapper, and it is very funny to just dumpster some people with those guns.
It is an amazing slapper, but I remember, I think on my guide I made a guide on the 3 ships of the line when it came out. So this one, Minnesota, and then Vermont. And you see me actually trying to catch Lexington going backwards. And I simply cannot catch it. So
yeah. Yep, it's just slow. It's
tier 5, it's fine, but at tier 8, it can be a bit complicated.
Yeah, a little more rough.
Alors.
Oh, kid. Besides the horrible jokes that came from my stream that I literally had to pull the stream down because we were making so many. Literally, FBI was totally going to come after us. But the kid, I'm just going to put in, dear God, why? This is just the worst Benson. Do not touch it. Do not.
I mean, the guns can actually hit something, but I would say it's the worst Cossack in every possible way. So that's for me. That's if you're trying to replicate that playstyle in the American line, you should make sure that the guns are actually a lot better than the Benson and not just marginally better. So
yeah, it's just don't touch the kid. Don't catch.
No,
don't.
I really don't see the point of spending money on it. So. Well.
I think the final Amagi class, or no, there's one more, but the key.
Oh la la! My friends made me promise not to trash it, but I have to trash it. So
I'll trash it with you. I'll trash it. How much are we trashing it?
Yeah. They told me you would. And the problem is, when it came out, it was sold as a better protected Amagi. You trade a bit of DPM because you've got less guns and reload is a bit slower, but in the end you trade a bit of DPM for a bit of protection and better AA, which is okay. The AA is indeed much better.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're still a Japanese ship and you're going to get flooded and set on fire to death by any CV. I'm not going to hold anything because you're a key, and it's just a big damage piñata for a CV.
It is.
And essentially now that the Amagi's armor got buffed, I mean, why bother? So it's still a decent ship, the torpedoes, fine, etc. But I don't see any reason to spend money on it. So,
yeah, I put it in playable just because I'd say it's the same as Black Amagi, where it's just kind of it has something going for it, but not much. No, yeah, exactly. So.